Mr. Michael Israel, thank you for joining me today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. It's good to hang out.
Absolutely.
Haven't seen you in ages.
It's been a while. The last live event I was at with you, I think it was about 10 years ago in Charlotte.
Yeah, that's too long.
I know. We got to get you to come out to Colorado now, though.
Yeah, it's getting crazy right now. I'm getting calls like every day and emails and stuff. So I thought I was going to retire, then I decided semi-retired, and now I don't know what's going on anymore.
I know 10 years ago you were eyeballing retirement. Now, 10 years later, it's still there.
Well, it's the traveling really takes its wear and tear on you, and I've done a ton of it. So I have some things I want to kind of do for myself, and people don't realize how much time and effort goes into a 5-minute painting.
No, I can imagine. If someone hasn't seen your work before, the live experience at Michael Israel, you're is a performance painting the best way to like live experience painter? What would be the descriptive words you would use?
I either call it a story painter or live action art. I mean, it's an experience is the best way to describe it. It's the media coined it speed painting, and I think that is so lame and novelty to call it that because it's
I
so
don't.
much more.
I agree. I was actually just watching the video on your website when you were doing the hero painting again.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it just brought back all the memories of being at your show. Because if you haven't been there, at least as like a non-artist person is the descriptive of it. It's like you're kind of wondering what you're painting the whole time till about maybe a minute left or so where you're putting the final touches on. And usually you have this really great reveal when you turn the art maybe, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and you go like, oh, it's Superman, Batman, a firefighter, it's Muhammad Ali, it's Einstein, it's, because you're the whole time I'm going like, what's he painting? And then it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Some of them are just a lot of fun, and some are really emotional. And I can see in the audience, where everybody's like curious what it is, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh!" And then all of a sudden it's emotional, and the tears start running down their face, and they're, "Oh, look at the little child and
oh,
the firefighter," or like other ones like Freddie Mercury is just always a blast. And when they realize they're digging the music, and then
yeah,
when they realize that painting, it's like they're goners or even the Statue of Liberty. People that didn't think they were patriotic find they have a little tear running down their eye and their heart's pounding, and they're like, "Oh my God, proud to be an American," kind of thing. So it's really cool to do what I do, and I've been side by side with the motivational coaches and speakers and things at major conferences and stuff, including Tony Robbins and
yeah.
Dr. Phil and those, and these guys have like 45 minutes or an hour to really supercharge this audience of like 10,000 people. And usually I have like 7 minutes, but I get a standing ovation every time.
Absolutely, you
And
do.
people go nuts over it because what I paint, if I get my demographics right and my message right, is more like they're looking in a mirror at what's reflected inside them. So it really touches the soul.
No, that's a good way to describe it. And you talked about like a lot goes into that 5-7 minutes. Like some of these paintings you've painted obviously numerous times to sort of what's it take when
Well,
you
the actual painting is not that big a deal, but crafting the painting, it's like crafting a novel.
yeah.
Sometimes it's, whether it's the chicken and the egg or the
Yeah.
image or the music story. Somebody might tell me about a cancer patient, and then I'll hear a song or I'll have a vision, or there might be some world event, like 9/11
Mm-hmm.
or the tsunami. I have pieces for that, or the Gulf oil spill. I have pieces that helped with that. Pieces on autism, pieces on pediatric cancer, and there's various what's the word? There's no direct process, but something will touch me. It'll make the hair stand up on the back of my neck. Will make my heart pound in my chest, and then I'll expand upon that and create the performance. And then there's weeks, maybe even months of choreographing it, figuring out how it's going
Yeah.
to come to life. It looks like I'm spontaneously painting something, but it's like a dance. It's choreographed. I know when you're going to go, what the hell is this guy doing? And when you're going to go, oh my God, or when you're going to cry, or when you're going to turn your head, try to figure it out, and then if I'm doing multiple paintings, there's a synergy between. Even it might seem like a very eclectic mix. Like Albert Einstein, Muhammad Ali, Marilyn Monroe, a child with cancer, but there's a methodology behind each one. There's music and lyrics that sort of help communicate the message. I'm interacting with the audience, they're interacting with me, and it's people. Well, you're saying 10 years ago you saw the event, you remember it, feel it, you're energized by it. I have people that contact me, from 20, 30 years ago. Oh, we just had this senator over our house, or we just had a party, and everybody was crazy about the piece, and we told them the story, and so this creates like a memory. I think when people buy the artwork, they're not buying a painting, they're buying a piece of their own history. They're buying the experience that they want to keep with them, and the experience. So
I like the term
it's a cool thing.
Absolutely, I like the term you use there. It's kind of, I think, like planned spontaneity, where for the fan, the person sitting there, it's like it doesn't look like it's planned. But for what you're doing, it's like you said, it's very choreographed. When you're doing it. It's like live music, but in art, because you've practiced the song before.
It's kind of like the universe, the chaos theory of the Big Bang or whatever, I'm sure there was a plan there somewhere,
There's some intelligent
Although
design.
it's like everything else. When I do corporate lectures and university and college lectures, I talk about how you start out with this great plan, you have this vision for what this is going to be, and it's like doing a painting. You kind of sometimes know what you want to do, unless you're doing abstract or whatever. You know what you want to do. You start doing it. It doesn't look anything like what you want. Your business plan went to hell. You went over budget. This thing you're inventing is never going to happen. But you keep at it. You keep throwing stuff at it, and eventually, this masterpiece materializes. So that's kind of what, there's a lot of messaging in what I do. When I'm doing charitable things, it's just about how you can help and how you can empathize with what's going on. So there's so much, so much that can be communicated in art.
No, absolutely. You talk about the charitable events. You've got a really cool program you've developed over the years to help the right nonprofits. Tell me a little bit more how you did that.
It all kind of happened by accident when I started, I've always donated. In fact, I went bankrupt at one point for giving too much away. That's a whole nother interview.
All right, we'll put that one in the file for later.
But, I would do like these mega corporate shows for thousands of people for, like, say, a major bank, and the people in the audience would hit up the CEO and the president and go, "Oh, yeah, you got to auction that for charity," and they'd start the auction going, and then the CEO and the president would jump in and start bidding, and then they realize they cut everybody else off, and then they go, "Okay, no, you take it, and we'll just match it," and then they go to the charity and hand them a check for $100, $200 and the charity's like, "Wow, this is great. What's this for?" "Well, we had this artist guy, and so then they call me up and they go, "Hey, can you do that again?" So initially I was like, so in the industry, in the entertainment industry or whatever, there's a certain discount that agencies get. So for charities, I kind of doubled that. But after a while, with the prices my artwork was going for and the prices I was getting just to show up for an appearance, it was still completely out of their range. So we came up with a program called Works for Charity that we award a handful of charities each year, basically a free show. And yes, there's expenses because there's flights and hotel and production and this and that and the other thing. Yep. But we put in place a guarantee that basically says, look, if the artwork doesn't raise enough, then we'll just pay the expenses. Because the artwork always, so the charities have no risk involved. And, they walk away with 10,000 to, I've done 400,000 at some events. Wow. So it's been pretty nuts. And another benefit for the charities, not as much for me, is, my collectors will find out, and sometimes I'll even invite them because I feel it's not being honest if, like, you want to buy a piece from me and it's $50,000 in my studio, and I say, but, I am doing this charity event in Oshkosh. If you want to come out to it, you might get a steal. So, a lot of my clients do that. Coach P.
Yeah, he's going to be my reference there.
Yeah, he's been all over the country. He's got dozens of my works, the whole floor full.
Oh, yeah.
And he's basically, as a financial advisor, he's smart. He's stolen every one of them. And if bidding's going low at a particular event because it's not like we invite all art collectors. It's for the charities, whoever they invite. But he'll buy out the whole show sometimes.
If you anything know about Coach Pete,
he get like 4 or 5 paintings for less than one would cost retail.
Yeah, if you know anything about Coach Pete, he doesn't pay retail.
Yeah, well, he's a sharp guy. What can I say?
Absolutely.
I've got a few more like him. I got one guy flies his private jet in, probably spends more on jet fuel and parking and pilots and all that, and refuses to purchase when the bidding goes high because he's maybe seen it at some other events where it's a little lower. So he's missed out on a lot of good pieces. That's just his thing.
They like the game of it, the challenge. It's like going to a gas station. You're like, it's 10 cents cheaper here.
Yeah, so I bring a lot of my collectors. They won't pay my studio price and wind up giving it to a charity. Which is great.
Yeah.
So my work's doing good. And other events, like a recent event, I invited some people, and one of my collectors spent $18,000 on other. And actually, Coach Pete does that. He runs around with his black card and buys like everything in sight. So
that's what he did at the Charlotte event.
Well, also in Boca, I was just speaking to one of the charity executives, and they said, when's Coach Pete coming back? Are you going to invite any other collectors? Because they buy more than the charity's constituents do.
Right. So then going like how you've done this to help raise, I don't know how many millions over the 30 years of doing this that you have. Like, what would you tell someone that wants to get into the art industry similar to you, like to go, what are you going to tell the next generation of artists?
You gotta do your own thing because I get emails and letters from other artists going, I do what you do, but I can't. Nothing's working, And I remember one year I was doing this huge event for the firefighters and the police safety council in I want to say Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay.
But so anyway, a school reached out to me and said that they have another artist who's a big fan of mine doing a live event for them like the night before mine. And, would I come out? He's a big fan. It would mean the world to him. They want to surprise him. And I thought, sure, why not? I even came out and I had a little hero award to give him since he was trying to do something good. And, they announced him and I was waiting kind of in the room, and there was like people just milling around. A few people left. It wasn't very many people even came out. And I'm like, am I in the wrong town for this? Do people not artwork or whatever? And, he didn't see me, and nobody knew I was really there. And the show started, and he's doing kind of like the motions that I do, and the music's playing, and the artwork is... it's coming out. I saw what it was ahead of time, and other people were starting to recognize it. But there was not like a tremendous amount of excitement and all that. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, what did I get myself into in this town? And then they did the auction, and I think it went for maybe $800. It wasn't much. It wasn't not enough to pay for materials and the paint and whatever, And then afterwards, he got his little like golf clap, and I was like going, yeah,
trying to encourage him, pump his tires up.
And then they introduced me, and the whole room was in an uproar, and I'm like, how do they even know me? Because mostly I've been like hidden when I did so many corporate events and things where it wasn't marketed, and when NBC or someone would call me to do like TV, I go, well, what do you pay? And they're like, no, it's free exposure, or you get after rate. And I'm like, no, I get $50,000 and up for a show. I'm not coming out, not flying out and spending days so you can have a free show. You get paid for this. And you're not a charity. So I didn't do a lot. Now I'm thinking maybe I should have done some of it because I'd have even more recognition. But whatever. But anyway, I had no clue how anybody even knew me, but there was a big uproar. I presented him the award and all that, but I'm still thinking to myself, this show in this like 3,000 seat theater that I was helping underwrite for the firefighters and the police and all, which they told me they hadn't been able to sell too many tickets because they were busy fighting floods, doing this and doing that, and it was all on them to do. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to be such a disaster. It's going to be the first failure of my career. And I get there, and the place is just jam-packed. We sold out every single piece.
Oh, that's
awesome. It was
awesome.
nuts. And then at the end, this is like the magic thing. This little girl, couldn't have been, I don't know, maybe she was 8 or 9 at the time. She goes up to the stage, and she tugs at the auctioneer's, tugs at his leg, and he bends over, and she whispers in his ear, and he helps her up on the stage, and he says, this little girl would like to thank the man that saved her life because she had been a bad burn victim. And then he talks to her a little bit more and says, well, tell me about you. And he finds out that she sings. And he says, well, would you sing something for us? So she sang I Got the Music in Me. And she brought the house down. It was just an amazing moment. And I got to talk to her parents later, and I found out how they were trying to get her confidence back and bring her back up. And the same for the family, because they all felt horrible about the situation. So I wound up paying for hotel rooms and bringing her out to another event I was doing, a huge one for it's called FDIC, for like 40,000 firefighters at the RC Dome in Indianapolis. And then I did a fundraiser for the Burn Foundation that night. So I brought her out to sing again and be a part of that. And it was a good, great uplifting moment and everything. So there's so many magical things that happen. I guess that's karma, in some way.
No.
So that felt really good.
No, very cool. If people wanted to see where your shows are, there's a tour place on your website where they can see? How would they get a hold of where you're going to be?
Well, normally I put them on the website, but since COVID, my webmaster has been long gone. So we're getting back to that. It's really, I've got a very limited staff right now. I'm going to be needing to put some more people on.
Okay.
So when I don't actually produce the event, so it's really up to the charities to promote it. And then I will sometimes reach out to some of my collectors.
That makes sense.
With a private email or something saying, hey, here's an opportunity to steal some more artwork, see a show. And a lot of them come in a day early, and we go out on the town and hang out, have a good time. So it's and then after the show, it seems like I always wind up downtown somewhere at like 3 a.m. looking for somewhere that's got food, because it's a long night doing these shows.
Oh, so I still remember the event from Charlotte. When you talk about like live action painting, it's not passive painting. You're up there, like I was watching, like I said, the clip of when you did the hero painting that you have on your website. And his website, it'll be in the link in the description, but it's michaelisrael.com if you're looking for it. But you did like a 360 jump.
Kind of a cross. It's a cross between UFC and concert, and Blue Man Group. Only it ends up being a painting that you're going, oh my God, that looks pretty good.
I was like, yeah, it's like you get in a fight with a canvas. It almost looks like.
That's therapy. Oh, I've snapped inch-thick handles of brushes in half while I'm painting and gone clean through the canvases sometimes. And it's like really heavy-duty stuff. So I get in the zone, and the audience is cheering with me, and it's just a really cool thing.
I remember when you're up here in Casper area, that was about 8 years ago or so for an event. And I think you had just as much paint on you at the end as the canvas did. I think you could auction your shirt off at the time.
The clothes and stuff. Yeah, they've gone for sneakers have gone for $5,000, outfits have gone for thousands, and I think were you at the one where we did the karaoke version, and I was painting to Garth Brooks' "Friends in Low Places."
No,
had all the words up, and everybody was singing along.
I don't think that was me, but I wish it was. I want to go to that one.
That was a really good one. I really enjoyed that. It was a second or third event with them, and they said let's just do whatever you want to do, kind of thing, because it's been working so well. And I said, I want to try karaoke with it, let everybody sing along too, and that was a lot of fun.
That is incredible, Michael. I've really enjoyed the time. I really appreciate it. Is there any parting thoughts here before I let you go?
You follow your heart.
No, that's awesome. So, Michael, I truly appreciate the time. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you out there on the road again here. And if there's any way we can help you out, definitely let me know.
Sounds good, man. Let's get together in the future.
Absolutely. Come on out here. Denver's great. I'm saying it's 12 degrees out here today. Let's wait till the spring at least.
Yeah, let me know when it warms up.
I don't know if it ever does sometimes.